Keynote by Sara Madani.
Thank you so much for all being here, and I'm so honored to be an ambassador for AIBC, and I love the topics we speak about, and from my perspective, I'm the kind of speaker that's not gonna come and show you graphs or talk to you about 5 ways to diversify the economy or 10 ways, and this is the graphs. I don't speak like that, because I feel like every issue we have in our economy and society stems from something deeper within than just the circumstances around us. So I'm here today to speak about gender equality in general and in the tech space. Before I start, I will tell you a small story about myself so you'll understand how did I end up here in the tech world. I used to be a fashion designer for 20 years. Now, of course, if you hear somebody has been a fashion designer for 20 years, you're like, oh, she loves it. Oh, 20 years of her life. She's into it. Honestly, I wasn't. It made good money. I was really good at it, but I did not enjoy it. The reason I stayed in that industry for 20 years is because society programmed me as a woman that I should be in female industries. Fashion, food, makeup, hair. It's because it's a given. Women are born knowing how to do it, they should stick to it. And this is what programming and society and culture does to you. And the cost was 20 years of me doing something that I was good at, but I did not enjoy doing. Now, when we want to talk about gender diversity, we cannot shy away from the truth and the fact that this is a man's world. It's not something we're hiding, it's a fact. Now, let's take it back a step to understand why is it a man's world, okay? And I know that some women might be upset with what I'm going to say. Some men might be upset with what I'm going to say, but someone has to say the truth, right? So I've done so much research. I used to be a board member in the government, in the Ministry of Economy, the SME Council, for so many years. And then I was a board member in the Chamber of Commerce in Sharjah for so many years in the government. And when you are exposed to a city that's diverse and it's a melting pot for so many cultures, you experience the city as a citizen or someone living there, and then I experienced it from a government perspective and what they're trying to do and how they see things and how they view things. Now, if you look at history, back, every king that took over, every war that started, there was always a woman whispering in a man's ears. And that's why they say, behind every great man is a woman. She can be his mother, his sister, his wife, whatever it can be. But the power women have on men is extremely strong because we come from an emotional window. Men are logical. So when someone speaks logic to me, if the logic doesn't make sense to me, I cannot be manipulated into logic, because 1 + 1 is 3, it's 2. But when a woman goes in emotional mode and she tries to talk to you about things from an emotional perspective, what happens is that she can convince you that 1 + 1 is 3. And this is the power women possess. And for decades and centuries, men, this is historical facts, men realize that women are strong and they're capable of taking over and controlling because of their emotional way of moving around. And a decision was taken, a collective decision was taken, let's suppress the divine feminine. Let's suppress the women to make this a man's world so we can keep everything under our control, because it's harder for men to tap into their emotional, but very easy for women. So how do they do that? Okay, let's introduce culture. Let's introduce wrongs and right. Let's brainwash. Let's do this. Let's do this. And in history, this is what happened. The divine feminine was suppressed. The divine masculine went higher. And what happened is that there was no diversity in so many sectors, not only today, decades ago. For example, I'll give you a very simple example. I was once at my friend's house, and I say the story always to everyone because I want them to realize how dangerous it is. I was at my friend's house. She has 2 daughters, 1 son. She's sitting with them. I have one son. She's sitting with them and she's like talking to her girls. And I can see she's coming from a place of love. And she's like, you two girls are gonna grow up to be princesses. Someone's gonna come and spoil you. You don't have to work hard. Life will be easy for you. Everything will be perfect. And then she looks at her son and she's like, you will find the right woman when you grow up. She will serve you. She will do this for you. She will do that for you. You will work. You will provide. She will be at home doing all these things. Now, of course, a mother is coming from a loving place. But what she doesn't realize is what she is conflicting on her children right now is damaging for their future. When you speak to a young girl like this, you're literally killing all her dreams. You're telling her she is good for nothing. All she has to do is sit and be served, which means depend on your dad. If it's not your dad, it's your brother. If it's not your brother, it's your husband. If it's not your husband, back to your father. You cannot be on your own. You are indirectly instilling these thoughts in the mindset of a child. And then the boy, when you tell him, you're going to find a woman that's going to serve you, going to do this, going to do that for you, you're going to be doing all the work, what does he automatically think? It's a man's world. I am the one in control and in charge of everything. Her place is at home. And if she does anything different, it's out of the norm. So this is what parents don't understand, is that every message we put out there comes from a trauma, a past trauma, which is in society passed to us through culture and all that. But you're also limiting someone's powers. And I don't believe in feminism and let's take over the world, because I think if women did this movement where we want to be the best, we want to be on top, then we're doing what the men did to us in the past. Now, who's the reason this problem exists? 40% it's men, because they decided. 60% it's women. We are the reason this is a man's world. If this is how we're raising our children, this is how we're raising our daughters, this is the result. The result is us fighting for gender equality, us fighting for equal rights, us doing all of that and everything. Now, what you need to understand is that the reason there's a lot of issues in organizations when it comes to gender equality and all these things is because everyone is in competition mode. Men are in competition with women, women are in competition with men, women are in competition with women, men are in competition with men. Now, what I see men do differently in organizations and the culture of the organizations is men don't sabotage or the way women do when they're given a high position. When a woman is given a high chair in an organization, for example, what happens is that she will not open the door for other women to come because she knows that to get here, she had to go through so much hardship. And therefore, she's not going to allow another woman to come and take it from her because she went through a lot. Because men get hired for what they can do, women get hired for what they've done. It's a complete ball game, and it's unfair. What we need to understand is that women and men don't compete with each other, they complete each other. We need to understand that I know there are things I can do and a man can't do. Vice versa, there are things that men can do that I can do. People at the top, they don't compete. People at the top, they collaborate. People at the bottom compete. And that's how the world is changing now. And when it comes to setting a healthy example in your organization, you need to understand one thing. If your organization was just male dominant and mostly men in there, you're missing on a lot of things, and I'll explain to you why. This is a story I'll give you. When I used to be a board member at the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we were 19 in total, 2 women, the rest are all men. This is not a job. We were selected by His Highness to take a role into developing the city and taking decisions that are mandatory to rise as a city. So I remember 2 women, 19 men. 17 men, sorry. I entered the boardroom. We were having a board meeting. And before entering, I can see the men arguing. No, what is this? This is not right. This is not okay. They're arguing, and their voice was high. They weren't fighting, but that's how men speak, right? We walked in, me and the other board member, 2 females only. We walked in. The minute we walked in, the energy softened in the meeting. And then the head of the board, he looked at us and he said, you know what I love? I love the fact that we have women on this board, because women bring a different set of energy to how men's dynamic are together. And he told us the minute we walked in, the game changed, the tone changed, the volume changed, conversations changed. Men usually see things in black and white. Women see it in different colors. And I believe women, if they are part of everything that's happening and the movements that's happening, they bring so much color to everything they do. And it's just a beautiful combination to have that equality between both. Now, when we speak about gender equality, what are we speaking about? We're speaking about same amount of respect, same amount of opportunities, same amount of pay. I mean, it's only fair to be paid on your experience and your background and all that. It's only fair, right? We shouldn't be paid less just because we're women, and sometimes we get pregnant and we need to give birth and we need to disappear for a while, maternity leave and all that. We're not a threat. It's just when you accept how women are biologically, mentally, and all that, you realize that there's such a gift in any organization. Now, after 20 years of being a fashion designer, I decided, okay, it's the time for me to face myself in the mirror and just tell myself, I don't even like it. I don't even have passion for fashion. And I did that. I looked at myself and I said, I don't like it. Does it make money? Yes. Does it pay the bills? Yes. Have I traveled the world for every fashion weekend? Yes, but I don't enjoy it. That's not who I am. That's who I thought I was. Now, maturity, a lot of people think, oh my God, I'm mature, I'm smart, I'm traveling, I'm well-traveled, I'm learning new things all the time. I believe that maturity is not learning new things. Maturity is unlearning who you were told to be, how you were told to be, and finding out who you really are. Because we are all born with a blueprint. And I love bringing that point every time I do a speech. We're all born with a blueprint. My name is going to be Sara. This is my culture. That's how I'm going to dress. That's what I eat. This is okay. This is not. This is fine. That's your limits. I come into this life with a blueprint. So I don't really know who I am because I've been told to be something, told to be a certain way. So I need to discover who I really am. So maturity is unlearning everything you've been told and discovering who you really are and being curious about that part of you. So I decided to shut down my company completely, 20 years. My staff were with me for 18 years, some of them 16 years. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. They're like, why? I was like, because I don't enjoy it. And I remember when I shut the company, I was in Los Angeles for a conference. No, I wasn't for a conference. I was there to see a friend. My friend dragged me to a conference. And when I reached the conference, it was a tech conference. And we sat down in the crowd, and I was extremely bored. I wanted to go to Rodeo Drive and have fun. And she was like, just come, please, don't leave me alone. And I went there. I was sitting down. A guy was on stage giving a speech. And he was talking about tech, blah, 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 and all that. And I was sitting down. I have zero knowledge in tech. And he was like, the tech world is made for men. And I feel like women don't fit there. It's a man's world. And the minute he said that, I felt like this electricity move from my toes up to my head. And I made a decision at that moment. I said, I'm going to be a tech entrepreneur because this guy pissed me off. And why can't a woman be in there? And I kid you not, that was the beginning of my rebellious era, where I ventured in businesses and discovered that the limitations society put on me, which is like, you can't be in a business or manage a business that you have no background, no experience, no information, and you can't be an entrepreneur in that. That pissed me off as well. I was like, why? Why is there so much limitations? So I started the tech company because of that guy, to show him that a woman can be in that industry. And then I fell in love with tech. And then all my investments, all my businesses, everything has been tech. But then I went to another event, okay, and I was sitting down, and this guy was it the Dubai Food Show, I think it was called. I was there just, checking out the F&B industry with a couple of friends. And I met this chef, and he was giving a talk there. And he said, you cannot be in the restaurant business, the F&B business, unless you have like culinary, is it called culinary, I think? Culinary background, you know how to cook, you know all of that. And that pissed me off. What did Sara do? She went to start a restaurant immediately. So just to show people that whatever you project, whatever you tell me I can and cannot do, is a limitation of who you are, not who I am. And if you don't distinguish between being an observer and an observer, then you will get really confused and lost in life. You are here to observe everything, not to observe anything. That's it. I will listen to you. I disagree with you, but I accept what you're saying. You think I can't do it? Great, that's your limitation. Maybe I cannot do it with you, but I definitely can do it. So, opened a restaurant, hired that guy to show him that I can do it, whether he believes in it or not, and I made it happen. But then I realized a year later that, okay, the challenge was nice, but it's not my thing. So I shut down the F&B company. So I'm here to tell you that you do not have to have a certain experience or knowledge. Don't let people intimidate you if they have the knowledge for you to be anything and anyone you want to be. You were not born to fit in. You were born to stand out. And the minute you realize that power you have and that everyone's reaction, words, advice is a reflection of who they are from the inside and not you, the more you realize how powerful you are. And if tech is the industry you decided to be in, I love tech. I'll tell you why. Recently, in the past, I'd say 6-7 months, I moved all my companies online, closed the offices, everyone's working from home. Why? Because tech is the only industry that allows me to have the freedom to work from anywhere I want in the world, whenever I want, however I want. I can pack my laptop up, go to Bali for 6 months and work from there. Everything is possible. And if the biggest teacher that taught us anything is possible was COVID. We were forced to get out of our mind and out of our programming, and we had to try something new. And then we realized, oh my God, it actually works. So the reason I enjoy tech is because I can do it from anywhere in the world. All I need is a laptop and an internet connection, and I'm good to go. So if you're venturing in tech, as a woman, for every woman, I do not think you should limit yourself or be intimidated because men make you feel like it's a men's industry. And for the men, you need to make more room for women because women are risk takers, they're creatives, they're emotionally intelligent. They bring so much flavor to any industry they're in. In the end, if we close our eyes and do not focus on the gender, we're all just people trying to thrive, trying to grow, trying to learn. And if we don't walk around with that kind of empathy and acceptance to everyone and everything, we are not contributing in raising the consciousness of this world. We're not. So maybe it's harder to start with the elder people, the elder generation, but you definitely have a responsibility for your children to raise them in a way where gender is not an issue anymore, because it shouldn't be an issue. I cannot work, I cannot do anything because of my gender, no. And to be honest, being a woman is extremely powerful. The feminine energy is extremely powerful, don't underestimate it. But we also need to understand that we don't need to make this a female world or a women's world. We don't need it to be a male's world, we need it to be a human's world. And we should all have the right to live it the way we want and equally. That's it, as simple as it is. So, thank you so much. I wanted to keep it short and sweet. I do have 2 minutes if anybody has any questions. Yeah. Rick? No, you can. Okay.
Hello, how are you doing? You spoke about Web3. What is your business now? What is it now?
So most of my companies that I run directly are entertainment tech, fintech, health tech, okay? I've invested in so many technologies because I believe the future is technology. But at the same time, in every business that I do, I make sure that tech is not here to take over humanity and that we're always the higher end species. and ethical tech entrepreneurs, basically. Because I noticed that a lot of people want to eliminate a lot of the things we do as humans. So my main core in my businesses is I want to focus on being an ethical tech entrepreneur and not having Terminator happen to us at a certain point. And we need to always be on top of the game, yeah, as humans. But it's every kind of tech. But I'd say my focus is entertainment tech. Yeah. Any more questions? How much time do we have? Oh, yeah?
Hi. Here. Lubna Hamdan from Smashy Business. I was just wondering, because I've been following you for a while, and I love the podcast that you do. You talk a good talk. I was just wondering, can you give us an idea of the scale of your businesses? Can you share, some numbers perhaps? Because it's a little bit ambiguous, just so we can get a better understanding.
You want to know numbers about my business?
I mean, at least the scale of a business. How big are they?
So the thing is, my entertainment tech company is one of the biggest ones that I have at the moment. It's actually the only company that I'm still a CEO in. I didn't step down. And it's basically allowing any consumer to have access directly to any celebrity they like, to get a video from them, their merch, anything they want. And our partner in this company is Jason Derulo. So the reason why I do not speak, and I know I get this question a lot, the reason why I don't speak about what I do so much is because this is the spiritual part of me speaking, because my purpose in life is to spread awareness and light and not to come and brag about numbers and what I do and all that. Because when I die, I take nothing with me to the grave. It all stays here, which means that this is not what life is about. Great, amazing, we're making money, we're growing. It's part of the game of having the human experience. But in the end, my purpose, and my manager's sitting next to you, she knows that. My purpose is I'm here to spread awareness and light, so every chance I get to speak, I will not sit and brag about what I have, because I cannot relate to people. Because not everybody has reached this far, not everybody had made this. But I'd rather talk about my failures, my pain, and how to navigate internally, because it affects everything internally. And if I am good at what I do, and my businesses, I run right now 9 companies. I had 26 companies, I failed in most of them. And I'm okay with failing. I love failure, it's a beautiful teacher. But the reason why I preach so much, and if you listen to my podcast and all that, about healing and growth, is because once you've done the inner work, you're a better entrepreneur, you're a better creative person, you're a better partner, friend, sister, daughter, father, mother. It all starts within. And this is why I focus on so much within that I don't want to bother you. Like if I sit and here, fine, I have a wealth management company. We've taken 27 companies public.
Don't you think
that doesn't feel like anything, right? There's no emotions there.
Don't you think that there are a lot of podcasts talking about spirituality and growth, and perhaps women actually want to know, what did you learn from, failing in those startups? Should you have started bootstrapping?
Yeah.
Should you have, fundraise? I feel like the women can use the business advice as well. So I'm just wondering why you opted out of going into that.
Because, there are so many platforms that will give you business advice. You can just go and listen to them. My platform is to raise your awareness, I'll brainwash you to believe in yourself, to become the best version of yourself, and to go out there and do whatever you can. And this is my purpose. So it's distinguishing what my purpose is and what my message is. And I love my purpose so much, I have it tattooed on me. It's called Lightworker. And I feel like this is the reason I was born, I was created. I'm sorry, guys, this went from tech to spirituality, but it's important. But I feel like once you go on a journey to discover why are you here, what's the message God has in this world through you, you lose your attachment to everything else. Now, do I speak about failure? Yes. Do I speak about how to do some things in business? Yes. But am I going to go and preach about business 24/7? No. You know why? Because my journey in the business world, my failures, my successes, the money I made, anything, I cannot drop it to you on WhatsApp, on Google's map, and you can follow me towards my destination. Your story is different, his story is different, my story is different. I can sit here and give you 10 ways to be an entrepreneur. Would it work for you? Not necessarily. It worked for me. So everyone has their own journey. And my advice for entrepreneurs is stop asking around, just start. Once you start learning. Make mistakes. Don't care about what people say or think about you. Just go out there and try. It's like be doing sports. You don't ask someone, how do I hit the ball? You just go play ball and you suddenly start learning and then they guide you throughout the way. So I apologize if I dropped that part of my personality, but that wasn't who I am. Who I am is I'm here to raise your consciousness as a person. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's it.